Venerable Jundo Cohen, founder of Treeleaf Zendo.
AI will not be used alone in isolation, but rather, AI will be used together with other new advances soon coming in medicine, neuroscience, genetics, and bioscience, robotics, virtual reality, and more. So we should not just speak of the use of AI in isolation. We should also speak of AI as it supercharges and combines with these other technologies that are coming, many in the next decades, even few years. Now, this is scary. The fear of many of us is that AI and these other technologies will be used by militarists to build better weapons and super soldiers, by dictators to enslave populations, by industrialists who simply wish to sell us more junk and make a profit. We have a choice. We Buddhists and other ethical people simply cannot wait passively, hoping that these things will turn out for the best. We cannot say it is just samsara and watch from a distance from inside our protected monasteries, looking at the violence, poverty, and pollution outside. Now, I believe that these technologies are coming and cannot be stopped or even easily regulated. I believe that bad guys will misuse them for bad things. So if we cannot stop or effectively regulate these technologies, we should instead recognize that there is also presented a real chance for good. It is offered by these new technologies ways to cancel or lessen the bad uses. It is our chance, if we act wisely, to employ these same new technologies to create not a dystopian future, but instead a happier, more peaceful world of justice, realizing many ancient ideals of Buddhism to lessen violence, reduce hunger and poverty, cure diseases, bring more love, compassion, and goodness into this world. Incredible technological power is coming. I believe that whether we like it or not, these technologies cannot be stopped. Maybe they can be slowed, but not halted. If so, perhaps these tools can be ethically used to realize what engaged Buddhists have long hoped for in this world, a bit of the Pure Land on this earth. But in order to do so, we need groups of white hat researchers and scientists who can get ahead of and beat the black hat militarists, outwit the industrialists, and get ahead of the other beings who will misuse these technologies. I think you know the symbol of the white hat as the good guys who save the town from the bad guys in the cowboy movies. I believe that sitting in this audience right now are some of those white hat scientists, maybe you. Traditionally, Buddhism has used such methods as meditation and teaching from the precepts, teachings of ahimsa, nonviolence, encouragement of compassion and loving kindness. We have emphasized non-greed and simplicity of desires, and we have hoped to instill these same values in people. However, it is my belief that these new AI-driven tech upaya, tech-expedient means can change human nature, can realize these ancient goals in ways that even our traditional upaya and other Buddhist methods of the past could not do as effectively or widely. Now, before I get into how we do this ethically, voluntarily, let me discuss what are 3 changes I hope and believe we might be able to make to human nature very soon. Now, number 1, reducing extreme anger that rises to the point of violence done in rage. We should employ advanced medicine to treat and reduce the propensity for some individuals to fall into extreme, uncontrolled degrees of anger to the point that they do violence in rage. I do not feel we should eliminate all anger. I am a Buddhist who believes that moderate upset is not the problem. But extreme anger is different. Extreme anger, especially to the extent of boiling over, so that one person might pick up a stone to strike another, or a gun and shoot another, this is the problem. Most people do not become so angry under ordinary conditions that they would do physical harm to another. But some people do. Some people cannot control their extremes of anger, and medical means to moderate such extremes of anger will be improving greatly in the coming years. If we were to cure the disease of uncontrolled rage, we would reduce much violence in this world. Number 2, increasing human empathy so that even strangers feel like parents, brothers, and children. Imagine a world in which one could no more walk past a stranger hungry and homeless in the street than one could walk past one's own child if hungry and homeless. Imagine that someone would hesitate to raise a weapon against a stranger just as they would hesitate to do so against their own beloved mother. Imagine that people saw enemies as having the faces of their own brothers and sisters. Hunger and homelessness would begin to vanish. Wars would be so much harder to fight when we suddenly see enemies as our loving children and friends. Now, I like to joke that if something in our brains were cross-wired so that suddenly doing charity made us as aroused as sex, people would run to homeless shelters to feed the hungry like they run to the bedroom. Men would watch images of cats being rescued from trees on the internet for their personal excitement, like charity orgasms. Now, I do not think that we can or should make people so empathetic and so charitable that they forget to feed themselves, to take care of themselves. There can be too much self-sacrifice. Instead, a relatively moderate increase in human empathy, maybe 20 or 30% more than we are, let's say, would see great changes in society. Finally, the third change that I believe may be increasingly possible and that would have great positive effects in this world is enhancing earlier satiation, satisfaction, reducing drives for excess consumption, compulsions to eat, drink, buy things in excess. Imagine a dietary supplement we took which made us less hungry, less desirous, less prone to addiction, causing us to be satisfied more quickly by less. Impossible, yes? People would refuse it, yes? Not want something like that. Well, something like Ozempic may be a good example right now. And even more powerful desire moderators are coming. I believe that coming treatments might make us more easily satisfied in a variety of ways, not needing to eat or intoxicate so much, nor purchase and throw away so much stuff as a dopamine kick. Now, we need healthy desires to live. I believe that Buddha was not against all human desires, only critical of human desires and that are harmful, and any desires in excess quantity to the point that they become attachments. All things in moderation, some truly poisonous desires, not at all. In Japanese Zen, we have the word oryoki, which is something like eating enough to live and healthily. We can. So AI, in its combination with coming medical science, a better understanding of the human body and brain, might soon let us do these three things more easily at the push of a button: a change in some brain waves, or by ingesting an AI-designed dietary supplement or pill. But this leads to the most important question: would it be ethical? I believe that yes, if done correctly, it can be done ethically, and many people will do so voluntarily, without force or compulsion, by their own informed consent and own free will. How? Well, as Ozempic shows us very much about what is medically ethical and socially possible here. First off, as with any medical treatment, anything like this must be tested and shown to be safe and effective. Second, anyone offered some treatment must do so with good explanation and fully informed consent. Third, the effects must be truly healthy and beneficial, but it must be voluntary. That is the hard point. In an age when millions and millions of people refuse the COVID-19 vaccines, how do you persuade people to do something like this voluntarily, of their own free will? Well, my answer is simple, maybe too simple. People refused the vaccines because they did not bring them immediate peace, pleasure, and a sense of well-being that was obvious to them. The benefit was too far removed from the treatment, not immediate. For example, if someone were sick in the hospital and a doctor would offer a treatment which would take away their fever and difficulty breathing right away, most people would accept the treatment right away. But because the benefit of the vaccines was not so immediate, people refused the vaccines. However, it is a basic Buddhist teaching that people want to feel peaceful, happy, content, and healthy. Our traditional practices and meditations are aimed at making people feel less angry, less greedy, so that they feel more peaceful, happy, content, and healthy. Even today, consumers can be persuaded to do things just because they get some pleasure and feel good in doing so. The more pleasure or peace and satisfaction, the more good feeling, the more something is enticing. Now, I had a friend who, this is true story, said to me that he did not like my idea, would never do anything to his body to change his mood or brain, and he said this to me, true, while smoking a cigarette, drinking a beer, and taking antidepressants for his depression. Really. Today, voluntarily, to get a little peace and pleasure, people will engage in all manner of harmful behaviors of their own free will, destructive behaviors such as taking opioids, excess alcohol, engaging in unprotected sex, filling up on junk food, or snorting cocaine, slowly killing themselves through their choices, quite literally. But what if? What if there were treatments which gave people some inner peace, a feeling of subtle joy, a sense of well-being, while also leaving them actually healthier, less prisoners of anger and excess cravings, more filled with love and satisfaction? We would not have to force anyone to take these things any more than we have to force people now to eat ice cream or do those bad things. But the difference is that this would be a good thing that actually leaves the person measurably better, stronger, longer lived, kinder and nicer, more empathetic, generous, healthier, and happier. Now, someone asked me, would even the rich and powerful people want to partake in something which would make them more loving towards strangers, more charitable and empathetic? Why would the capitalist industrialist or military dictator be interested in being less desirous of things or more peaceful? My answer is that yes, I think many rich and powerful people in society would. Look at today. All the powerful billionaires in our world, the famous and beautiful movie stars too, who seem pretty darn unhappy despite all their money and power. They drink, take drugs, buy things to be happy. If there was something that truly made them happy in their life, content, peaceful about themselves, I bet even many rich and powerful world leaders would be tempted to try. But even so, it does not have to be everyone. If, for example, only 30% of the population in Western countries decided to participate, you would see 30% more donations to charity, 30% more voters supporting social programs at the voting booth, 30% less violence. Now, that's not a scientific number, of course, but I think you get my meaning. It does not need to be even a majority of citizens to radically steer the direction of our societies in good ways. Now, I am not such a dreamer that I am talking about Buddha in a single pill. My point is, again, that AI, in combination with a variety of new technologies in medicine, neuroscience, genetics, and the like, will together bring a variety of new, powerful, healthful tools. It is like a tool belt filled with new tools which we Buddhists can use to bring peace, nonviolence, and other good into this world. By the way, thank you, ChatGPT 4.0. 有意思. But my central question, is it ethical? I make the following point. Yes, if. First, the technology is actually possible. Talking to people, scientists, I think it is. The technology is coming anyway, cannot be stopped, and is likely to be misused by others. Next, the technology can be used for good in the world, to reduce anger and violence, increase human empathy, thus reducing poverty, homelessness, wars, saving countless lives. All this, I believe, is in keeping with our precepts and the Bodhisattva vow to rescue all sentient beings. Next, any medical approaches must be tested and proven safe and effective. This is vital. Next, nobody is forced in any way to do anything to themselves. All is by personal choice upon informed consent. Finally, the technique must truly leave one healthier in body and mind, making human lives better both for the person doing this and for the surrounding world. And so AI, in combination with other new technologies, will have many good uses in Buddhism and some bad. Let me just go to a couple of other possible good and bad points. A little off topic. First, meditating. I believe that many of the effects of meditation that only advanced meditators now can attain will be soon available with outside aids. Satori, realization, the dropping of our separate self, transcendence of the self-other. That's a good thing. It will soon be much more available than in the past. But there are bad sides too, such as some addictive uses of technology for Buddhists, such as AI-driven virtual reality experience. Why bother with Amitofo or Namu Amida Butsu when you can just put on some glasses and override the other senses and travel right to the Pure Land? Maybe some accompanying drug will ensure peace and bliss. Some folks may wish to spend their whole lives there. I believe that's not a good thing, so we have to be careful. Thus, in conclusion, let us seek moderation and good choices in our use of these technologies. I'm going to quote something at the end of my book, if I may. The Zen teachings remind us to keep life simple, in balance. Progress is not always progress. Zen values should lead us to step away from the machines and digital screens for periods of time. We should reject and refuse some technologies completely. We should turn off the power. We should frequently return to the minimalist, traditional, low-tech or no-tech, rustic, small-scale, unplugged ways of life that Zen people have always cherished. We should often sit still and rest from our goals. We must not forget how to quit the quest for constant improvements, constant efficiency. We can be satisfied with enough when enough is enough. 你们不要说不可以，不要说没办法，不要说。
Don't say you can't. I can do. We can all do that. Thank you.